everyone, so Honda has just introduced the all-new 4th generation of the Passport SUV, and the brand's really making a big deal about this being more off-road focused. The first evidence of that is with the trims. There's only going to be 3 at launch, and they're going to be RTL for base, then TrailSport and TrailSport Elite. So this will also be the first model with 2 separate TrailSport trims. Now, the new SUV is a little bit bigger. It's got a 2.7-inch wheelbase extension, and the track's a bit wider, 1.3 inches up front and 1.5 in the rear. Honda claims the design theme is a backpack design theme. Backpack. And that really has to do with the rear portion of the vehicle. The cargo area is all blacked out on the roof and the pillars, and it comes in a matte finish back there, and that's because Honda is saying you could lean things like skis, fishing poles, and other sports equipment against it without worrying about scratching the finish. At the side are wider fender flares, and there's a hood scoop up front, which probably isn't functional, but it's there. The word Passport is stamped on the rear liftgate as well as on the front. In the back, there are some nice new LED taillights that Honda says will be distinct and easy to recognize. And up front, the LED daytime running lights turn amber, or I guess are amber, on TrailSport models to sort of differentiate them from the regular RTL. So sticking with that entry-level model, it has black on the trim and the grille. There's matte black on the rocker extensions, as well as the roof and spoiler as mentioned. And the skid garnish, front and rear as Honda calls it, is painted silver. Now stepping up to the TrailSport or TrailSport Elite, and the grille is now gloss black, as is the trim. It has those amber daytime running lights as I mentioned. The metallic silver paint now is on the front and rear skid garnishes, and of course there's TrailSport badges. One other change is the LED fog lights are actually mounted higher up in the bumper, so there's less chance they get damaged when off-roading through a trail or through the brush. And part of the reason they're moved up on that front bumper is it angles a lot more. It's shorter. There's less of an overhang as there was on the current model, so this should help with approach angle. And in the back, the exhaust is now hidden underneath the bumper, again, for better departure angle and to help protect them a bit more. As you know, on the current Passport, they stick right out of the bumper. All versions of the Passport come with 18-inch wheels. The RTL has all-season tires attached to them, while the TrailSport and the TrailSport Elite get all-terrain tires. Now these are from General Tire. They're called General Grabber All-Terrain, and they're 275/60 R18, and they've been specially developed for the Passport between General and Honda. So another cool feature is the Trail Watch camera system, which shows sort of where the tire path is going to go front and rear to navigate tighter obstacles. And there's also a front view front mount camera that automatically turns on in trail mode at speeds at 15 miles per hour or lower. Of course, like any vehicle that's going to do some moderate off-roading, there's hill descent control, and here it can activate at declines up to 7%, and it works in speeds anywhere from 2 to 12 miles per hour. Inside, there's of course some digital gauges. It seems everyone's adding these nowadays. So, it'll show roll, pitch, elevation, things like that. So you know where the Passport sits on the ground below you, because sometimes pitch and roll seem way more extreme than they actually are from inside the vehicle. So under the hood, well, no real big changes. Every Passport is still going to come with a 3.5 liter V6 engine. It's now rated at 285 horsepower, so much like the Pilot, it's been updated for this new generation, and it's hooked up to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, Honda claims this transmission is specially tuned exclusively for the Passport. What exactly that means, I don't know. Maybe we'll get some more details on it closer to launch. Of course, there's a ton of drive modes. The old Passport had drive modes, but this one now has 7, including new ones like Sport, Trail, and Tow modes. And speaking of towing, the Passport can tow up to 5,000 pounds when properly equipped. The 2026 Passport will get the 2nd generation of Honda's torque vectoring technology, which is now called IVTM4. It's the first time this specific system's been put on the Passport, and the big deal about it is it features a stronger rear drive component. So up to 40% more torque can be sent to the rear wheels, and Honda claims at a 30% faster response rate. Suspension setup, it's McPherson strut up front and a all-new rear multi-link system, and the front brakes are larger now, up 1.2 inches in diameter for the rotor, which is a pretty big deal, now measuring 13.8 inches total. So inside, that bigger exterior leads to more space inside. There's 1.3 inches more legroom for the rear seat passengers, and in the cargo area, there's also an increase. So behind the rear seats, there's now 44 cubic feet, which is up almost 3 cubic feet. And when those rear seats are folded down, it now is 83.5 cubic feet, which is up almost 6 cubic feet compared to the current model. Honda calls the front seats body stabilizing seats, which are supposed to help reduce fatigue over long adventure drives. This is something that I'll believe it when I test it. The old Passport didn't have terrible seats, so it'll be interesting to see what these new ones are like. The various storage bins have a topographic map design in them. I think I remember that from some other off-roaders. The TrailSport comes with synthetic leather seats and a sliding panoramic sunroof. Of course, there is the contrast orange stitching, much like the Pilot has, and like the Pilot as well, it has TrailSport embroidered into the headrest on the Passport. Stepping up to the TrailSport Elite adds smart entry, perforated leather seats with ventilation, a heated steering wheel, rear climate controls, rear door shades, more ambient lighting, and a 12-speaker Bose audio system. All TrailSport's model comes standard with a 10.2-inch customizable digital driver information center and a 12.3-inch infotainment screen that has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As well, there's Google built in, which includes apps like Google Assistant, Google Maps, the usual Google system. And the nice thing is, Honda is giving owners a complimentary 3-year unlimited data plan with the Google system, which not every manufacturer does, especially not unlimited data. So that's a nice touch. Of course, TrailSport means rugged, outdooring, overlanding, all that stuff. So there's 110 volt plugs, one inside the interior in the center console and one in the cargo area. Safety's always a big concern for Honda, and even with the Passport being a more off-road oriented vehicle, they haven't forgotten that. One cool touch is the powder-coated orange recovery hooks in the front will actually break away in a collision, which doesn't usually happen in vehicles and is nice because they will not either intrude in the Passport or the vehicle it's colliding with. As far as other safety goes, it has standard Honda sensing with all the usual features. This Passport, compared to the old one, now has better blind spot information, Honda says, which the radar range is increased by 72 feet, which is quite a bit. There's also traffic jam assist, traffic sign recognition, adaptive cruise control with low speed follow, and lane keeping assist have now been updated and feature what Honda claims more natural responses. If all the standard equipment isn't quite enough for your Passport, Honda will create a whole bunch of accessories that they will sell through the dealers. Things like more wheels, aluminum scuff plates, rock sliders, and all the overlanding equipment you can think of for an adventure out in the desert or the forest or wherever you like to go off the road. More info on the 2026 Passport will be released probably in the new year. Things like pricing, availability, color choice, all those good sort of things. But for now, we have some images here, and I'm a fan of the new look. I didn't mind the old look either, but it was very much with sort of the older Honda SUV design language, and this one doesn't stray too far, but like the Pilot before it, they're getting a little more, truck-like, which I think is a big thing for the Passport, because let's be honest, it's not going to be able to off-road where like a Wrangler or Land Cruiser or Bronco goes, but with all these additions, it could probably go a lot of places people are currently taking Outback Wildernesses or Grand Cherokees, things like that. So until we get a chance to drive one and, of course, test it in some off-road conditions, we'll have to sort of save judgment. But it seems like the Passport's going in the right way as a more adventurous type of vehicle as opposed to just another two-row SUV.